Well, welcome back to Fully Alive. For those of you that have been following me on my personal Instagram account at Jeff Kapusta, you know that the Kapusta family has grown in the last little month and a half to 2 months with a beautiful chocolate Labrador puppy. You know, I know a lot of folks have said to me, are you out of your mind? What are you thinking? Your kids are moving out of the house. You've got 2 out and 1 that's almost out. Why would you go back to the starting blocks of raising a puppy? And bottom line, maybe I am crazy. For those of you that have been following along on the journey, you know I love to talk about life and faith and family and fitness and all that here on the podcast. Well, today I want to talk about what I've learned in raising my Labrador puppy. So I just got to back up a little bit and give you the backstory, okay? Now, those of you that are listening to this may be an episode where you actually want to stop listening and then jump over to YouTube or Spotify where you can watch the video, because we may just roll all B-roll of my puppy, okay? I could literally just play. I love this little girl. Her name is Miss Mabel May, okay? And so when my wife and I were coming to the decision that we wanted to add to our family, it was time to get a puppy. That was a long process and a long journey. We've had dogs. We've had labs for quite a while. And our most recent lab, we had to have him put down about 18 months ago. It was traumatic. It was heart-wrenching. Tough decision to make. If you've ever been down that path, you know that is such a difficult decision. And so 18 months have passed, and I told my wife, I think I'm ready to be hurt again. Like, I'm ready to love, but I'm also ready to be hurt again. And we started the process of doing my research. And those of you that don't know me well, I am a research junkie. So I started going deep down the rabbit hole of Labrador retrievers. You've got English labs and you've got American labs, and one is more chill, one is more active. And I was like, well, I want chill, okay? I want the chillest dog that has ever existed. So we started doing all this research, trying to figure out labs. And as I was studying, started learning a lot about the process that breeders can go through and in raising the puppies. It's got an actual name to it. It's called puppy culture. And in this puppy culture process, they expose the dogs to early neurological stimulation, early scent introduction. And what it really does is desensitize the dogs so that they're less skittish, they're more acclimated to their environment. Well, as I started learning that, I thought, well, I obviously need a dog that's raised this way. And so I created a list of about 15 breeders that all raised pups with the puppy culture process. So that was step one. Then I went through this list and I started figuring out which of these breeders have got litters available around, we'll call it mid to late October. That's when we wanted to bring a dog into our home. And so I started narrowing it down, and ultimately I got to a list of 3 different breeders. There was a breeder in Virginia, there was a breeder in Tennessee, and there was a breeder in Michigan. So I did the obvious next step. I made phone calls to all of these different breeders, started having conversations. And when my wife and I were having a conversation with a breeder out of Michigan, I looked at my wife and I said, this is the dog. And so at this point, the pups were probably about 4 weeks old. And so we would get to watch this puppy begin to grow up. We had first pick of chocolate female. There was the whole litter was named after cereal, which was just, to me, that's a God thing because I love cereal. And so we were torn between Cheerio and Cocoa Puff. So we're watching them grow, and we leaned on our breeder to give us insight about the dogs. Anyway, I'm probably giving you way more information than you ever care to get. But the process ended up culminating with us deciding, we put our deposit down on this puppy. We went with Cheerio, and we had to fly to Michigan to pick up this dog. Now, I've had a lot of people say, don't they make chocolate labs in North Carolina? And yes, they do. But you have to understand, I was a bit neurotic about this process. So we get our tickets and we fly, Wilmington to Charlotte to Detroit, where we meet our pup. And we've settled on the name Mabel. They've been calling her name Mabel for probably the last couple weeks. And I get to meet Mabel. The moment was, it was everything I could have dreamt of. I grabbed this little chocolate chunk and I'm just hugging her. My wife is like filming, and we take the dog and then the breeder leaves, and like, here we are. We're in Detroit with a puppy Cool. What do we do now? And that began the process of how do we got to get her, in this little carrier, and then we got to get her on the plane. And she, for those of you that are like, how do you travel with a puppy? Well, they're a carry-on. They cost you $150 on American, and they're supposed to fit down under your feet. Problem is, puppies don't exactly want to lay there, and they start whimpering. And so I'm trying the whole flight. I'm hunched over, trying to feed her treats the whole time so she doesn't cry. Then we had the layover in Charlotte, and we got to get her to go to the bathroom. But you don't want to put a puppy in the dog relief areas because there's so many germs. So we're taking over a family restroom, covering with puppy pee pads everywhere, trying to get the dog to go to the bathroom. Anyway, long story short, Mabel is now part of our family. She's unbelievable. She's got her own Instagram account, which is absolutely blown up. In about a 2-week time period, she went from 200 followers to 5,000 followers. She has one video that is currently, at the time of this recording, sitting at 2.2 million views, which I just got to pause for a moment. For those of you who know me, I've been preaching the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ for 28 years of my life, 20 years as a pastor. And our team will capture clips, and I can't get any of those clips to go viral. I post a video of my dog drinking water and wiping her mouth on a little towel, and it gets 2.2 million views. Clearly, people love puppies more than they love Jesus. I'm working on that. Nevertheless, I am just, my family is smitten with this little girl, and let me just say that we've had her for a few weeks, and she is an absolute joy. But she's taught me a lot. And you guys know I'm going to come up with a leadership lesson out of just about everything. And here's what I've come to learn. I want to give you just a few thoughts. We'll talk about this in the realm of my dog, but we'll also kind of attach it and link it to life because, hey, leadership is leadership, whether that's with your Labrador or whether that's with your business. Here's a few things I learned. The first is this: consistency is key. Bringing this pup home was exciting. The cuteness, off the charts. But the cuteness, you start learning it doesn't matter how cute something is. It matters how consistent you are. See, Mabel doesn't learn from what I say once. She learns from what I say and what I do repeatedly. And so it starts with little things like teaching her to sit, teaching her to lay down. We just recently got a place, and I've been teaching her how to do that. But it's consistency. And it is consistency with the dog. How much of life, let's just be honest, comes down to consistency. It's doing the same thing. And here's the deal. Consistency is boring. Consistency isn't sexy until you don't have it. I think about so many areas of life that require consistency. Now, I will say, having gotten the puppy, my fitness and working out has lost a little bit of its consistency. So I'm working on getting that routine and that rhythm back. But consistency matters. It matters whether you're training a dog. It matters whether you're trying to train for a marathon. It matters if you want to prioritize your marriage in your home. Consistency is key. There's a saying that goes like this: you don't rise to the level of your intentions, you fall to the level of your consistency or your disciplines. And so what I'm learning with this dog is consistency is key. Every day we wake up, we have a set schedule, we do certain things at certain times, she sleeps in certain places. It's consistency. If you want to have a great dog, it starts with consistency with a great puppy. Here's the second thing that I've learned: structure matters. She needs to know boundaries bring peace, not pressure. She needs to know the routine. When she knows that, she thrives. A good example of this is as soon as we got home, they say the first thing you got to do with a puppy is you take them straight to the potty spot. Where is that spot? And if you start taking her to all different places in the yard, she's not going to know what is the play spot, what's the potty spot. And so in the beginning, I was getting frustrated. I would take her out to the spot. I'd stand there and I'd say, "Mabel, go potty." And she would just lay down. And I was like, well, I got the lazy dog I wanted, and I would try to get her up. And I realized if I moved around the backyard, she would move around. Problem is, we were inconsistent with the potty spot. And so we had no structure. She didn't know this is the place that I'm supposed to go. So she would pee over here, and she'd pee over there, and she'd poop over there. And my wife was like, we can't keep spreading this all over the yard. My wife brought structure, and she's like, we're going to stand in this spot, and she can move like as far as the leash will allow her, but that is it. And we created structure. Well, guess what? Couple weeks in, we take her out. We go straight to that spot. Guess what she does? She gets down to business. We were consistent. We gave her structure. and it's given her some boundaries. She knows I don't poop all over the yard. This is my spot. And we need that in our life too. We need consistency, but we need structure. I find when we lack structure, the times in my life when I've lacked structure, man, I'm out of rhythm. I find that my disciplines are falling by the wayside. If my finances are out, I don't have structure. I'm spending on whatever I feel like. And so, hey, it matters with a pup. It matters with our life. You got to create some structure. Here's the third thing that Mabel has taught me. This one has been obvious. Cuteness isn't enough. Okay? Here's the deal. There's 5,000 people that are currently her friends on Instagram. They all think that she is the cutest thing ever, and they're absolutely right. What they don't realize is that she can be a terror. She is a puppy. She is a land shark. She can nip. Maybe I need to post some of that just to remind people she's not just cute, but there's a lot of work. There's a lot of, man, if all you want is a cute puppy, just get an Instagram and follow my feed. Don't go get yourself a dog. There's a lot of work. Cuteness isn't enough. And I'd say the same with leadership, same with parenting, the same with faith. It's the work. It's the work that grows you. And with her, like, I want her to be a great dog. She's on her way, but she is not getting there on her own. It is the leadership. It is the training. It is the effort. Every bit of that matters. The cuteness is not enough. I know you're like, oh, I want a puppy because I want to snuggle. Hey, that puppy is going to nip at you till no end if you don't have consistency, you don't have structure, and you don't realize it's not enough to just want a cute little puppy. I've got to be committed to put in the work. And then here's the fourth and final thing I'll tell you, and I could go on and on, but number 4 is this. What gets rewarded, it gets repeated. My wife and my son, they joke that I have bought this treat pouch. Okay. It looks like a fanny pack. I have committed to the fanny pack life. I walk around with this all the time at home. I was leaving to go out of the house the other day. My wife was like, you going to wear the treat pouch? And I was like, oh, I still got it on. And the reason is because I want to consistently be a rewarding voice in Mabel's life. So you can either try to constantly correct bad behavior or you can reward good behavior. So every time she sits and she looks at me, guess what? I'm popping her a treat. Every time she displays calm behavior and just lays down instead of chewing on the legs of the couch, I'm giving her a treat. When I tell her to go to her place and she jumps on it and lays down, I'm giving her a treat. Every time she goes potty in the potty spot, guess what? I'm giving her a treat. Why? Because what gets rewarded gets repeated. And whether that's in your home or your personal life and your discipline, build a reward system in it. We work for rewards. Our dogs work for rewards. The culture you build is shaped by what you celebrate. So throw a party, reward. It works with my puppy. It works in life. It works on your team. It works raising kids. Like, what you want repeated, make it a priority to reward that thing. Couple thoughts as I close. Thinking about my dog, like I wasn't, when I got the dog, I wasn't thinking, let me go to bed honestly, it's been more like 9 o'clock because she falls asleep. We were like, she's going to go to bed at 10. This girl's falling asleep at like 7:30. So we're trying to keep her awake. 9 o'clock, she goes in her crate. And then I'm up once in the night, take her straight out to the potty spot, bring her back in. Like, I wanted a cute, snuggly puppy. I had forgotten how much work it is. Can I tell you, whatever it is you desire in life, it's on the other side of work. And I tried to do my homework. I read a great book called Puppy Brain. Anybody think about getting a dog? Carrie Nichols is the author. Read it. It will help you understand. My wife read Forever Dog. We bought this Super Dog Summit. Like, we've done our homework, but it's not the same as putting in the work. It's great that you want a cute pup, but you've got to be willing to commit to the work. Hey, it's great that you want to lose weight. Are you willing to commit to the work? It's great that you want to grow a business. Are you willing to commit to the work? There's leadership lessons in everything. There's leadership lessons in my dog. My question is, where is it that maybe in your life where you're like, I need more consistency, I need more structure, or I need to get celebrating like the right things, the wins? Because what gets celebrated gets repeated. What gets rewarded, as I said, gets repeated. Structure matters. Consistency is key. It's going to be it's the truth with my dog. It's the truth in life. And so I would just encourage you, take one thing, and I don't know what it may be for you, I know for me, I've been training for a half marathon, and let me tell you, there's a lot of days I just don't feel like doing it. And I've been battling with a cold, and so I couldn't run quite as much. But it's like, all right, you want to cross the finish line, and for me, I want to do it in under 2 hours. Well, that's going to take a certain amount of consistency and structure. And when I do that, guess what? We're going to celebrate it. So I don't know what your goal is, but I'm willing to bet there's a few takeaways from my little Miss Mabel May that will apply to your life. So, hey, if you're not following her yet on Instagram, I know some of you stopped and you just gave her a follow. Do that because it will be cuteness overload, but you'll also be reminded that it's consistency, it's structure, it's celebrating, and you're going to find that's going to bring about the results that you desire in your life as well. Appreciate you guys joining us today on the episode. We will see you next week. If this episode's resonating with you so far, we actually did a previous episode 36, called The Fruit of Discipline. It's going to help you dig a little bit deeper into this concept.